Can you hear me? Online. Can you hear? Check, 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 check. Okay. Yes, good afternoon. Isamal አይደል? Yeah. Once again, thank you very much for being here with us for World Vision side event with the title Ethiopian Carbon Path, Policy and Practice. With this opportunity, I would like to say congratulations for Ministry of Planning and Development for hosting such an amazing event. It really was a very proud moment for all Ethiopians who have been part of this 3-day session to host such a nice and big event. And hopefully, as our Prime Minister asked, we'll be hosting COP in 2027, right? Yeah. Yeah. This is our second side event as a World Vision. And we have been preparing for this session for quite long. Why? Because we consider ourselves as a carbon guru, working on carbon projects, carbon program for the past 20 years. We've pioneered some of the carbon projects in Ethiopia as well as in Africa, and we feel there are things that we can share with other partners and stakeholders from practice as well as some of the input that we have for policy perspective. So it is going to be a very interesting 1.5-hour session where some of our carbon experts, experts from Ministry of Planning, experts from Ministry of Ethiopian Environment Protection Authority, academician, some of the most experienced carbon program people are among with us. So hopefully by the end of the day, you'll have a picture of a carbon program. And as you leave this session and as you leave, probably this could be your last session in African Climate Summit. This is something that you'll remember for the rest of the year until African Climate Summit 3. Yeah. With this, saying this, let me invite Mr. Gosae Mengiste. He is a senior energy advisor at Ministry of Water and Energy. with over 3 decades of leadership in Ethiopian energy sector. He brings deep expertise in renewable energy, power policy, and carbon finance. It's really a pleasure to have you here with us, Mr. Gosai. So please help me welcome Mr. Gosai for the opening remark.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to open this important side event on Ethiopian Carbon Path, policy and practice. I extend my heartfelt thanks to World Vision, Ethiopia and our partners for bringing us together to engage on this critical issue. Ethiopia has demonstrated its commitment to climate action through significant achievements, such as the development of renewable energy projects like what you heard, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, as well as extensive tree planting and reforestation initiatives. These efforts showcase our dedication to building a sustainable future. We recognize that our forests, land, energy system, and of course water resource are at the very heart of both the challenges and face and the solution we can harness. Carbon finance presents us with a promising opportunity, if managed wisely, to protect our natural resources, cut emissions, and uplift communities. As you all know, despite contributing less than 4% of global emissions, our continent receives only about 3% of international climate finance. This disparity is unacceptable. Achieving fairness requires united, sustained collaboration. We must also bridge the knowledge gap by investing in climate data and early warning system, vital tool for saving lives and strengthening resilience. Our journey is not more than just markets and numbers. It is about ensuring that the climate policies are inclusive, connecting with farmers, women, and children, and that the benefits of carbon finance reach those most affected by climate change. To realize this vision, we need clear strategies, robust institutions, enhanced negotiation capacities, comprehensive climate data, and inclusive partnership. Today, we will hear about Ethiopia's experiences from practical projects and national strategies to regulatory frameworks. These perspectives will help us shape a carbon pathway that is fair, credible, and beneficial for both people and the planet. We must also recognize our ecosystem as a vital global public goods that demand our collective stewardship. With that, I am pleased to officially open this session. I look forward to a fruitful and engaging discussion. I thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ato Gosai. Ato Gosai has raised a number of critical issues, issues like climate justice, our contribution as a continent in emission, and the percentage of global finance we get as an Africa. It's only 3%. Another important dimension that Ato Gosai has mentioned is the importance of having an inclusive carbon as well as climate programming. it is very evident that Ethiopia has been in the front line in terms of developing clean energy. And once again, I want to congratulate all the Ethiopians to stand at this moment where we inaugurate the Great Renaissance Dam, right? Yeah. Victory after victory. Thank you very much. Without any further delay, let me invite Ato Kabada Ragasa, Carbon Projects Manager with World Vision Ethiopia. He will show us, he will walk you through the practical experiences that we've had for the past 20 years. You only have 20 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm honored to speak on behalf of World Vision Ethiopia on this vital side event. And today I'll walk you through the journey we used leveraging carbon finance in community empowerment and restore landscape degradation, and build climate resilience from ground up. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll take you through. We will briefly see the global continental in the country context, Ethiopian climate vision, as it is a ground for World Vision Ethiopia's role to play. Yeah. Loss of forest contributed between 12 and 17% to the annual global greenhouse gas emission, out of which 30% global greenhouse gas emission is derived from fuel load harvesting. Climate change and associated increase in disaster push estimated 325 million poor people into extreme poverty. In the coming decades, globally, approximately 1 billion children, and nearly half of the world's children, live in countries that are in extreme high risk. 2.3 billion individuals globally, nearly a third of the world's population, prepare their meal on open fire, which contributes to 3.7 million premature deaths. Close to 1 billion people in Africa do not have access to clean cooking. In 12 countries, fuel load emission accounts for more than 50% of their annual emission. Coming to the land degradation, 1/4 of land is degraded, affecting about 20 million people. 54 million hectares critically highly degraded. Around 11 million needs urgent intervention. And in 2023, 22% of the population was estimated to be food insecure. To address the problem, Ethiopia has already embarked a climate resilient strategy. By doing this, I've already launched in 2011 the CRGE to achieve middle income status with low emission, and the National Red Plus strategy, updated also the NDC in 2021, boldly targeting forestry, energy, and agriculture, and earned nearly more than 40 million carbon revenue from issued credit of more than 2 million. And on this journey, World Vision has played a leading role and a champion, implementing UN registered, the first African carbon UN registered carbon credit project in forestry, and the third carbon credit project in Africa, next to Uganda and Kenya, and also modeled community-led restoration and transition of energy, transition to clean energy, aligning with CRJ. FMNR also scaled from pilot. We started at the pilot phase. Now, currently, it is almost included as a national strategy for landscape restoration. Our projects, our forestry projects are implemented in the southern Ethiopian region, in Walaita Sodo, in Humbo and the Sodo. These areas were open for access before the project so that everybody can get in to cut the tree and use it for firewood, charcoal, timber, and whatever they want to do, so that this has led the area to overexploit. Overexploitation of the area has led the area to soil erosion, flooding, large gully formations, wood and biodiversity crisis, reduced productivity from especially to the poor farmers living in the vicinity, to depleted production. So that our World Vision intervened in this area with an objective of sequestering greenhouse gas into native forests to contribute to alleviation of poverty through flow of benefit from carbon credit and forest and non-forest products. Yeah, with this objective, we started our carbon framework. Our carbon framework has been, the first thing we checked in was the alignment with the protocol and the legal foundations, eligibility of the area, legalization certification, and development of the PDD, project design document, and validation, verification, and issuance. So in checking the protocol alignment of the country with protocol, Ethiopia has already ratified Kyoto Protocol in 2005, so that it allowed us to start the project in the country. Then we identified a proposed area for the project implementation, that is the mentioned area. It was more than the one we have started the project implementation. It was nearly around 15,000, so that we checked eligibility of the land. Out of the 15,000, nearly 2,700 hectare was eligible for the implementation of carbon finance. So after assessment of the eligibility, continuous discussion, awareness creation, and synthesization workshops were carried out with the community living around in the project operation area, and the government, to agree to come into consent with the community and the government on the free access and on land ownership after launching of the project, so that agreed to proceed demarcating the area and providing user right certificate to the cooperatives, so that they can own the land, protect the land, manage the land, and benefit whatever benefit gained from the project implementation area. Then we proceeded to the legalization, legal certification of the area after demarcating the area, perimeter of the total area, and the area of each Kabbales. There are villages. Kabbale is the lower administrative unit of the country, so that we identified between the adjacent Kabbale, the owning, to know the owning of each Kabbale. So we demarcated the total perimeter of the area and the belonging within each Kabbale. So after that, we side by side, we've been organizing cooperatives in each Kabbale, so that a certification of the land user right has been provided by concerned government line office to the cooperatives. Then we developed design document, project design document, the CDM design document, submitted, passed for validation. Then after validation, undergone verification and the issuance. To implement the project, we used different techniques and models. The techniques we used were FMNR, enrichment plantation, cooperative model, and the social mitigation actions. FMNR is regeneration from the existing life stumps in the area. It's almost covered nearly around 90% of the area, so that 90% of the natural, the vegetation cover was restored from natural regeneration. And there were patchy lands in between the project area, so that to cover that patchy lands, we raised seedlings. So we planted those seedlings into the patchy lands to cover the patchy lands. And not only to cover the patchy lands, we have also distributed seedlings to the community members so that they can establish their own woodlot and agroforestry system. And the model we used was cooperative model, because before the project, the area is a communal land, so that we must establish an institute that owns the area, manage the area, protect the area, and benefit from the gains that could be generated in near future. So we organized cooperatives. One cooperative, there are 7 Kabbales. Within 7 Kabbale, within each Kabbale, we organized 7 cooperatives, so that these cooperatives were legally certified. They have their own bylaw, their own internal law, so that they are legal, legal institutes. So they have also, the government has also provided them user right certificate for each of the cooperatives. So they are legal, they own their own land within each Kabbale, so that they can manage, protect, and use the benefit gained from there. Before the project, there were community members whose livelihood has been based on charcoal making, fuel wood collection, and so on. So we identified those part of the community members and supported them, just creating different livelihood option for them, so that they can sustain and support the cooperative and manage together with being a member of the cooperatives. They also manage and protect the area with cooperative. Yeah. Saying this, after we manage the area, there are a lot of benefits that the community members have already gained, have enjoyed from the project area. The first one is environmental benefits. The community member, almost from the environmental benefits. We've sequestered more than 479 tons of carbon dioxide from both projects, from both Humbo and Sodo, from 2,728 hectares of Humbo and 503 hectares of Sodo project. We've sequestered this much ton of carbon dioxide equivalent. The habitat is almost conducive for life. Once disappeared, wildlife are almost coming back. Improved genetic pool and medicinal plants. Water sources are also back, like 32 springs were restored in Sodo and 4 springs were restored in Humbo. Ecotourism potential has also enhanced. There were also the community members are getting enough grass and the fuel wood from the areas they use by cut and carry system. They collect fuel wood from removed parts of the vegetation during different forest management activities, so that they can use both the grass and the fuel wood for their own household consumption and for sale to get additional income. Social cohesion and additional school block construction, road, and so on. Yeah, economic benefits from the CER, sale of certified emission reductions. We have already transferred more than 2 million USD. Better yield in the area, reduced because they have installed grain mill and different services to the community. They're providing, the cooperatives are providing different services to the community members, so that they reduced expense for different services to get from the district capital and so on. And non-timber products like honey and so on is also increased. Yeah, let me pass to the energy project. The energy project, energy efficient cook stove project, we have started the project with the objective to increase nutritional status of children and women, improving the economic security of households, reducing reliance to the fuel wood. This project is implemented in 2 regions, Oromia and the Central Ethiopia region, in 9 zones and 12 districts, supported by World Vision Ethiopia and Standard Bank. To implement this project, yes, we used the same model, cooperative model, but in this case, we have used different cooperatives. One, producer cooperatives that produce the technology, and the other, the second one, are user beneficiary cooperatives, so that World Vision buy technology from the producers and distribute to the user cooperatives. These cooperatives are, the beneficiary cooperatives are nearly 320. That includes more than 50,000 households. And we have distributed more than 100,000. This is only the initial distribution. As you know, typically in the ምርጥ stoves need to be replaced. Typically is replaced every 3 years, and the ምርጥ is replaced every 7 years. This number is without including the number of replacement. So by doing so, we have reduced by this project more than 1 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent, and received carbon revenue from the sale of CER, and transferred to these 320 cooperatives more than 2 million USD has been transferred to the 320 cooperatives. Women's beneficiary households saved fuel load to be used, saved fuel load nearly by 50%. The economic benefit, they have received all the carbon revenue, and saving culture has increased. The women, almost more than 90% of the members are women, so that they have developed, increased their saving and asset created. And they have also engaged in different income generating activities. More than 6 million Ethiopian birr has been revolving in within the mentioned cooperative, so that to generate additional income and share among the members. Social, almost yeah. The environmental benefit is the impact, the pressure that is exerted on the living biomass has reduced by 50%. That means this project is contributing to the green legacy on the other side, because it reduces the pressure to be exerted on the living biomass to collect fuel load. Indoor air pollution has reduced, a significant reduction in energy use. Challenges, a big challenge is we want cooperative members, women, to invest the capital in their hand, so that revolve the money and get additional income from the revolving money, and get their financial capital increase. But women are not as confident as we expect to be. So investment is not as it was required. Saying this, I think it's better to go here, takeaways. From both projects, the major takeaways are ownership, both for the forestry, the owners are the community members, so that ownership drives sustainability. Carbon finance is viable for development, and partnership amplifies impact. Communities in our projects are not beneficiaries. They are leaders of the interventions. So World Vision's success shows that carbon finance can uplift communities. We have a way forward. We want to restore more than 400,000 hectares degraded land, and distribute more than 200,000 improved cookstoves in five VPS, and reduce more than 150 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent, and address more than 1 million households, beneficiaries. So for this, we need 31.5 million USD investment. Yeah. With this potential experience, we can partner with potential donors, investors, and we can bring change together. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kabeda. Actually, the agenda is quite broad. There was a lot of things to share, but given the heavy agenda that we have, I'll be pushing the coming presenters to be precise. Saying this, let me invite Ato Mikhail Ordofa from Ministry of Planning and Development. He will briefly tell us about the National Carbon Market Strategy that has been under development by Ministry of Planning and Development. So please help me welcome Ato Mikael.
Thank you all. I think my name is already introduced by Mr. Nagacho. So we are, at the last day of the summit, which is a huge summit, which is an exemplary for all African, the model for all the world, I think so. So let's come back to that of, what my presentation looks like, My presentation is, highlighted for that of Ethiopian National Carbon Market Strategy, which is implemented for the 2025 up to 2035, And I will, present this one. First of all, Ethiopia will not have, the carbon legal framework as well as, the policy frameworks, Due to that cases for the last 10 past, there is the fragility of, the carbon crediting mechanism, the carbon markets as a whole. But onward, from starting from 2024, 25 in, the Ministry of Planning and Development will be, come up with that of the development of the national carbon market strategies, which is a policy framework. And then this strategy will again emphasize the principle, objective, key direction, key issues, and the like, So our strategy is currently launched for 2 months ago, but it keeps us, the higher official endorsements, Now this strategy what looks like together, I covered this one, the introduction, the objective and the principle of the strategy, the vision, the validity of the strategy issue and the direction, the strategy key action, the benefit sharing, and the next actions, what looks like, When we come to, the strategy introduction parts, this strategy will be aligned with that of, the climate resilience green economy strategy, which is, development for in 2021, and which is again submitted to an ambition update NDC in 2021, aligned with that of the Paris Agreement. And again, the NDC and the measures fully integrated with Ethiopian 10 years development plan. And again, the strategy will be aligned, the NDC in the intervention, which fully aligned with the 10 years development plan, outline all sector development priority. And again, focus on mobilizing international climate finance, including the carbon markets. And again, COP29, 24 finalizing Article 6, as you know, that the rule book and establishing global rules for carbon markets. Then the strategy will be aligned with this one, okay? And the international transfer of mitigation outcomes. Again, the strategy will be identified as Article 6.2, and again, international creating mechanism, which is the central of Article 6.4, and the carbon market. Again, this strategy will be approached with being complemented with the non-market approach, which is under Article 6.2. All know this issue, I think, the Article 6, rule book, And again, Ethiopia dedicated to participate in both voluntary and the compulsory carbon markets, A key sector identified for the carbon market engagements are based on Ethiopian most recent NDC update. Of course, our NDC 3 is launched this morning, but we are aligning with that of the previous one. Of course, the NDC 3 will be aligned with that on the NDC 3 basis, NDC 2 basis, and which includes that potential sectors, which includes the energy sector, the forestry sector, clean cooking, energy efficiency, e-mobility in the waste sectors, That are the potential sector which covers under the strategies. These sectors present significant powers of mitigations that can benefit from carbon finance through both compliance and the voluntary carbon markets. And again, the strategy encourages Ethiopian to build on the existing carbon market, what is already before, the world vision will be presented. And then the CDM, which is, the practices with the world vision, and again, the voluntary carbon market and the jurisdictional RED Plus, in addition to exploring new era such as carbon removal practices in the technologies, And again, this strategy will be aligned, not only this, but also our NDC identified a wide range of mitigation opportunity from follow sectors that includes agriculture, that is climate smart practices, sustainable land management, forestry sector, which is RED Plus, reforestation, deforestation, renewable energy expansion, clean cooking solutions. Many of those sectors are essentially suitable for carbon market participation, particularly through the program and the jurisdictional approaches, where Ethiopia can be generates high integrity emission reduction or removal for traders. When we come to the objective and the principles, the general objective of this strategy will have the overall objective is strengthening Ethiopian participation in high integrity international and the domestic carbon market. That is the general objective of this strategy. When we come up with the principle, which is guided by this strategy, the first one is Ethiopian carbon market participation support national climate and development and goal, especially NDC, ensuring high environmental and social integrities. And again, avoid double counting or double claiming of mitigation outcomes and over crediting of activities. And the principle again, engaging alignment with Article 6 of rules of the Paris Agreement and the domestic legal frameworks, including environment and the social impact assessments. That is the principle. When we come to the vision, the strategy has its own vision, as well as, its validity. The vision is, is focusing on robust and inclusive carbon market, foster achieving GHG emission reduction, target defined in NDC, and achieving SDG and environmental integrity. And when we come to the strategy validity, the strategy validates much Ethiopian NDC targets years, which extend from 2025 up to 2035. And again, the strategy will be reviewed and revised as necessary with a view to accommodate new developments in alignment with the NDC cycle and the national development plans. That's the validity. And when we come to the strategic issues of these carbon markets, the need to establish robust institutional coordination mechanism supported by the clear legal and regulatory frameworks. Our carbon law will under development now, and that should be aligned with this one, okay? It is crucial to build and sustain technical capacity across government agency, private sector actors, and the implementing partners. And again, the strategy will be issued that ensure Ethiopia must leverage its diplomatic presence as a regional leadership, international partnership to enhance its visibility and influence in global carbon market. When we come to the strategic direction, the first one is develop a flexible, inclusive, and a resilient carbon market framework. And again, maximize opportunity for climate finance, support sustainable development, and contributing meaningful to the national climate commitments. And a proactive international engagement will be a cornerstone of Ethiopian national carbon market strategies, And Ethiopia will actively seek to position itself as a trusted and attractive host for carbon credit mechanism through bilateral dialogue, regional as well as the international. When we come to a key action of this strategy, a key action will be highlighted that, Article 6.2. Of course, you can get the detail from the strategy document. Enable Ethiopian cooperative carbon market approach, including bilateral agreement, voluntary carbon market, and strengthen existing bilateral agreements with Japan and the BRICS. And also pursue new partnership with countries like Norway, South Korea, Singapore, Switzerland, and etc. And again, even the Corsia, which Ethiopian Airlines gets priority access to highlight integrity, Corsia eligible carbon credit from domestic mitigation activity, infrastructure support generation, certification transfer of Corsia aligned with existing, crediting, promoting national sustainable developments. And again, Ethiopia expands its market reach by enabling international airlines to purchase at most generating in Ethiopia. And again, government of Ethiopia established procedures for ensuring letters of authorizations for international transfer of mitigation regarding to that of CORSIA. And the other one is, the key action is that Article 6.4 engagements, Ethiopia carbon market strategy ensures a smooth transition of CDM activity to the Paris Agreement crediting mechanisms. And again, mitigation contribution units will be used to domestically to support NDC target without international transfer that maintain carbon market integrity in the avoiding overselling. And the other key action is, voluntary carbon markets. Direct contribute to the Ethiopian conditional NDC and the eligible criteria for voluntary carbon market credit to qualify for international transfer and the safeguarding to avoid double countings. And again, developing regulatory frameworks. As I've already said that our carbon legal framework will be under development, and then promoting public-private partnership and ensuring transparency in the technology enable a MAR review will enhance markable credibility. And when we come to the benefit sharing, ensuring transparency, equitable distribution of financial and non-financial benefits from carbon credits among federal and the regional governments, down to that of the local communities and the private sectors, Of course, this beneficiary will be aligned with that of, under the development of carbon legal frameworks. And then the under development carbon market laws emphasize performance-based, proportional, and inclusive benefit sharing across sectors such as forestry, energy, and the West, and promoting the vertical and horizontal integrity. This is the last my slides. What next action we are going to do at national levels? The first one is we are currently developing the eligibility criteria for program and project activities. And the second one is our next step is to develop the implementation guideline for the national carbon market strategy. And lastly, a comprehensive legal framework is currently in the process of being developed and to regulate the roles, responsibilities, and activity of actors within the carbon market, as well as align all carbon market issues. Please be in your mind the last point. All carbon markets and the crediting mechanisms at national levels with the national carbon market strategy is critical. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ato Mikhail, for finishing on time. He walked us through the most expected carbon market strategy. This was something that we were looking after for a decade, and happy to hear about it. Without any further ado, let me rush you to our colleague from Environment Protection Authority, EPA, Wezero Rahel Lemma. She's with us. She's the head of Payment for Ecosystem Service and Carbon Market Regulatory Desk. She will take you with 10 minutes through Ethiopia's regulatory framework on Payment for Ecosystem Service. Rahel. Please help me welcome Rahel. For the past 3 days, we were blamed for not having a proper female engagement, so we're very happy to have you.
Okay, good afternoon, distinguished guests. As my colleague already he introduced me, and I'm Rahel Lemma from EPA. So today, I will share how Ethiopia, through Ethiopian Environmental Protection Authority, has prepared a regulatory framework that not only protects nature, but also rewards those who care for it and empowers local communities. And the aim of the presentation is to explain why PACE legal framework is essential, and also to look at the building blocks of the framework that make payment for ecosystem service operational. And finally, we will explore how Ethiopia can scale up payment for ecosystem service for greater impact on the way forward section. So before we try to work on the main agenda, I think we should understand the significance of payment for ecosystem service. So, imagine first like a forest that provides clean water, fresh air, and which can sequester high percentage of carbon and protects us from floods. And most of the time, these benefits are priceless, but they are often taken for granted. So until now, communities protect this ecosystem service rarely received fair compensation, while those benefiting paid nothing for these services. So payment for ecosystem service changes that. So it creates a system where those who benefit share the responsibility and those who conserve are rewarded. So this is why payment for ecosystem matters. So it balances conservation with development, empowers communities, and ensures sustainability for future generations. So understanding why payment for ecosystem matters, it naturally leads us to ask how do we ensure it's implemented fairly and effectively. So that's where the regulatory framework comes in. So a payment for ecosystem service framework ensures that the indigenous communities and also the any communities who care for the ecosystem are fairly compensated and protected from the exploitation. So, having seen why a regulatory framework is necessary, then let's look at the main component, which the building blocks that make payment for ecosystem service work in practice. So it has 7 sections. So each sections provides the legal and operational foundation for PACE to be practical. So the first section introduces the proclamation with its short title, definitions, and explains its scope of application. So this gives clarity on the terms used and establishes who and what the proclamation applies to. And the second section sets out the guiding principles for payment for ecosystem service and it ensures fairness, sustainability, and inclusivity. So it also defines the spatial scale of the payment, whether it's local, regional, or national, so that payments reflect the true ecological boundaries of the service provided. The third section explains how the ecosystem service can be bundled or packaged together. For instance, we can see like the water clarity, carbon sequestration, or any biodiversity conservation. So it also outlines the essential element of PACE contracts, such as the obligation of each party, the payment terms and enforcement mechanisms, and also which ensures the agreements are clear and legally sound. So in the fourth section, the proclamation details how payments are made, whether it could be in cash, in kind, or other arrangements, and it identifies financing sources, including the government, private sector, development partners, and it also sets out how benefits are shared, how benefits are shared fairly, with particular emphasis on ensuring local communities benefit equitably. And the fifth section establishes rules for monitoring, reporting, and verification. This ensures that the payment for ecosystem service schemes are transparent, accountable, and credible. So the sixth section it clarifies institutional responsibilities. The authority, for instance, we can see that the authority provides the authority provides overseas, sets standards, and enforces compliance, while the intermediaries serve as facilitators. So this helps to connect service providers with beneficiaries and ensuring agreements are smoothly implemented. So the final section, which is the seventh section, covers miscellaneous provisions, and it addresses non-compliance by setting out measures for those who fail to meet their obligations. It also recognizes ongoing peace agreements, giving them continuity under the new proclamation. And it gives also the authority the power to issue any regulations, directives. So this ensures flexibility and adaptability over the time. As a way forward, I would like to emphasize that the proclamation on payment for ecosystem service has already been discussed by Council of Ministers and has been forwarded to the House of People's representative for final approval. So this marks a crucial, crucial milestone, moving us from fragmented um, practices toward a unified legal system. So the next steps will focus on developing secondary regulations like detailed directives and regulation for effective implementation, and also building capacity among stakeholders and local levels also, and ensuring stakeholder engagements. So, in short, this proclamation fills a legal gap, a major legal gap, and it ensures fairness and transparency. And it has now reached House of People's representative, and we are waiting for the final approval. So the way forward is to um, put it into action through regulations, capacity building, and strong stakeholder engagement. So this is a key step toward Ethiopia's sustainable and climate resilient future. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wazir Rahel, for a very precise, very insightful presentation. We've been shouting out loud with a lot of policies, legal frameworks missing. As a World Vision, we have been operating like in a vacuum. Whenever new investors, new project developers are in country, the first issues that we usually have is missing legal frameworks, and the government of Ethiopia is making a commendable progress in terms of in placing those missing legal frameworks. And happy to hear both about the payment for ecosystem regulation and the carbon market strategy. We are like 15 minutes late, but the very interesting discussion is just starting. Let me invite Ato Hailu Tafara, a former World Vision staff, now but with World Bank for long. So we'll have a panel discussion.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me and giving this opportunity. And my name is, as has been introduced, Hailu Tafara. Now working for World Bank in Environment and Natural Resource and Blue Economy Unit. So I'm very much honored to serve you as a moderator of this part of the session. So this session really focuses on how the legal framework and the carbon finance initiatives really help develop access carbon finance. And these initiatives are credible, sustainable, and also contribute to sustainable development, and also engage communities on sustainable manner in long-term development programs. So this is a topic, a very critical topic, really, on international development, as we work toward the sustainable development and inclusive solutions. So We will hear different perspectives, experience insights from experienced and practical experts or panelists taking the Ethiopian regulator experience in carbon finance, in policies, and also actions into account. So allow me to really invite our distinguished guests, Dr. Panelists, Dr. Abeja from EFD, a researcher. He has been working as a researcher over 30 years. Now he's leading Natural Resource and Carbon Finance Directorate to the stage. He will really kindly just give him or welcome, say welcome to the stage. So he will bring us his insights on how really policies reshape really regulatory instruments are very useful to access carbon market. So the next panelist is Dr. Dawit, an environmental economist from World Bank. He will also, please welcome him. And he will also give us his insights on how the regulatory framework and local initiatives connect to really achieve the national and also international development goals. So he is based in Addis Ababa and with Eastern and Southern Africa region at World Bank, Ethiopia country office. And the third panelist is from Addis Ababa University, Dr. Wondosen. He is also, please welcome him to the stage. So he is also a researcher and a teacher in Addis Ababa University. So he will also bring his insights on policy perspectives. I also kindly invite the former three presenters. So as we will be having, session towards the end to open, question and answer sessions to have to get from audiences if they have any. They can forward their questions towards the end to either presenters or to the panelists or both. So without further ado, I think I will forward my guiding questions to panelists, to the three panelists mainly. So my first question goes to Dr. Abeja, as a person who has been involved on developing or leading and on drafting the legal instrument, forest regulation and the forest trade carbon directives, which are very key instruments really to transact emission reduction, which addresses the issues related to emission ownership, emission reduction ownership, and also beneficiary arrangement. Almost without this, it is impossible to transact whatever emissions you generate. So I think he has been a key person in leading this, the preparation of these instruments. So how important are these instruments really to ensure local communities benefit from carbon markets? Dr. Abuja.
Okay, thank you. I would like first to thank the organizers to invite me as a panelist in this important session, and so that I can share what is the important elements within the forest regulation regarding the forest carbon. So thank you also for the first question. Ethiopia has already enacted a forest proclamation in 2018, and last year in 2024, a forest regulation. And this important both forest laws, the important aspect of this forest proclamation and regulation is, clearly defines what the forest carbon is and who is the owner of this forest carbon. So in Ethiopia, I can say Ethiopia, these regulations or proclamation makes in a better position in terms of who is the owner of the forest carbon. So in the regulations, in the proclamation, we have 4 types of forest owners: the government, the private, the community, and the associations. So in these 4 ownerships, those who are the owner of the forest are also equally the owner of the forest carbon. So this makes an important step, to ensure, to make beneficial of the forest owners in this regard. So if we can see from the first presentation from the World Vision, we see that they have been working with the community. So this proclamation clearly endorses the owners are of the carbon generated from that project is the local community, because they are first the owner of the forest. So in the first place, this is one step that clearly makes clear that the owners are, those who developed the forests. And the second one is the important aspect of this forest regulation, particularly, is it clearly mandates the benefit sharing among those stakeholders involved in the project. So mostly the local communities, the states are important actors involved in this NGOs, in this project activities. So the owners, for example, if the forest owners are the forest carbon, they have the right ownership for the forest carbon they have generated. And if they don't need any support from the government, they are, they can get the full benefit, 100% benefit from the forest carbon they generated. But if they are also needing the support from the government, both from the regional and the federal government, at least 80% of the revenue generated from this project should go directly to the community. This is a law, so there is no any way to abuse it. So it's actually dictates the benefit sharing, and it makes more beneficial for the local people. And the other aspect is, more than maybe I would say 90% of the forest resources we have in Ethiopia is state-owned, but the state cannot, by itself protect all these forest resources. So in newly arrangements like a PFM is established, and I heard this morning about 1.6 million forests were in this arrangement where forest carbon projects were generated. And this aspect, the law also makes them beneficiary, the users of these forest resources. So the local communities are although they are not the owner of the forest, but they have the user rights in these forest resources. And from this regulation, 80% of the carbon generated from the state-owned forests will go directly to the community. So I think that the new forest law we have is really pro to the local communities who are, investing their time, labor to protect the forest resources. That's one thing. The other thing is, it strengthens the ownership in the participation, active participation, and it avoids, conflicts among stakeholders, because it's by law dictated what kind of benefit sharing it should be. So I would say the forest regulation we have in this time is very climate justice, because it clearly indicates who has a right holder, how can the benefit should be shared among the stakeholders involved in this scheme. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abejo, for this insightful reflection. Yeah, thanks to really the work you have done in ministry, in AFD. I think now we are in a position to really transact emissions that is generated in the forest sector throughout the country. I think this instrument has taken us long time. I know to get approval, and as there are a number of stakeholders in the jurisdiction, particularly in the forest sector. So I think very impressive work has been done, and now where Ethiopia is in a good shape really to transact this emission from the forestry sector, and there are also many frameworks, particularly at national level in the Ministry of Planning and Development, are also bringing additional instruments, particularly strategy for carbon market that addresses such issues in the CRG sector. So Dr. Abeja mentioned the ownership issue and the inclusiveness of the community in every steps of the process to make sure that they are really included and their rights are addressed, included their voices are heard. As a follow-up to this question, I think I will have another one. I want to forward to you, Dr. Abeja. So how Ethiopia make sure carbon finance really helps poor and the vulnerable people. So in the community, there are also, a segment of community, very poor and the vulnerable ones. How this instrument will address really to engage and benefit these people.
Yeah. So as I was mentioning before in the first question, our regulation now dictates the benefit sharing. So in order to make sure that the benefit is generated from this type of scheme for the right stakeholders or to the local communities, the first thing is, the law already indicates that the 80% at least should be go to the local communities. And before the initiation of such type of projects, in order to make sure that the benefits directly goes to the poor, those who are actively engaged should first be consented. The people should be made aware about the project, and they should get a consent, as it was mentioned before by the World Vision. The actors involved in such projects should get a consent from the people. They should be very transparent in the process, what kind of rights the communities will have in advance, and what kind of obligations is expected from the people, how the carbon benefit is being collected, and how it's going to be presented, distributed among all this transparency issue should be first come before it should be started. And the other thing is, when in the process of establishing cooperatives, local communities, that process should also consider to engage those important people to be a member of the committee, so that they will be very well aware, they can monitor themselves what's going on, and they can claim the benefits they have. So they should be on board. The youth, the women, people should be part of the committee in the process. That makes them to be more beneficial than being outsider by looking outside in the process. That's one thing that should be, I think, followed. And the other thing is, once the benefit is collected, the benefit may not be reach to each individual's pockets, but they can invest through infrastructures like health clinic, the road, and the schools, and the similar communal services can be provided, so that everybody in the community can access equally. In that way, I think these poor people can be equally get a benefit from the others.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Abeja. I would like also to hear your insights, Dr. Wendoson, on this one.
Okay.
Same topic. Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Wendoson Bogala, but I'm really highlight on the clean cooking side, because I've been highly involved in the national clean cooking roadmap development. So to give a very brief highlight, Ethiopia of the access to clean cooking is less than 10%. This implies that more than 87% of the population is still relying on biomass. So all our NEDC, we already stated that based on clean cooking intervention, we want to reduce approximately 75 million tons CO2 equivalent. And so that we already launched the National Clean Cooking Roadmap 2 months ago. It's also aligned with, the framework. That is also very important. What does it really mean? We need to distribute around 36 million improved cook stove or clean cook stove all over Ethiopia throughout every region. So one of the biggest issues in the clean cooking sector is that affordability. So in order to make, to create that affordability, we need to link it with the carbon credit. That is very important. So the good part is that World Vision has already achieved that goal. We are not going to start from scratch. What is very important is that we need to learn from them, but also from other organizations. So in order to leverage that carbon credit, we need to really understand very, very important pointers. Carbon credit is all about data. So for example, if I install my cook stove in Wellega, I need to track it from Addis so that the verification could become very much easy. So in our intervention, what we already recommended is that in order to integrate with the MRV system in every of our cook stove, and so that we can sell it in a high integrity market like Article 6, even Corsia. That is also very important. One of the biggest challenges also, everybody is also working in this area. So there is a fragmentation across the organization. Also, when you talk about cook stove, it is multi-sectoral. For your information, more than HIV and malaria, means cook stove is killing our mothers. And our mothers are spending around 900 hours per year in collecting wood. So it is a multi-sectoral problem. In order to solve the carbon market issue, we need to bring everyone on board. So that when we bring everyone on board, we will have a strength. And we can get also leverage the international market to buy our carbon credit at a higher level. That is very important. So having a policy is very good, fantastic. But the thing is that the implementation is also very important. And the other very important part is the way we cook is very different. From Gambella to Somali to Tigray, it's very, very different. But one very important thing is in our National Clean Cooking Roadmap, for your information, we need approximately 3.38 billion in order to achieve this objective. So our objective, our passion is that why don't we leverage carbon credit in order to satisfy our NDC goal, in order to create affordability, so no one should have to die because of cooking. And as I've already told you, and from policy and one of the big issues also, maybe Dr. Dawit later on also highlighted, every carbon project needs pre-finance. So, the starting point is also very challenging. So we need to leverage also, the benefit of having World Bank on our side. And also even our bank should have to believe that even clean cooking can be financed. If that is the case, we are also on the right track. And as I have already told you, without data, we cannot also, sell our service. But in any case, as I have already mentioned, for your information, we didn't even exploited our carbon market, not only in Ethiopia, but also in Africa. Maybe till now, we only get around $60.3 million because of carbon credits, which is linked to cook stove. Not only all that, nationally, by the clean cooking proportion compared to electricity is that only 2.31%. With this in mind, I am already finalizing. We can achieve it. We already have the framework. And also once we have also the legal framework, it is very good. But we can also learn from the World Vision and also other sectors. And I believe that, if we collaborate together, there is nothing which is impossible to achieve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anderson. So the next, yes, you mentioned data and bring on board every partner, and also finance issue, pre-finance issue, very key ones. So Dr. Dawit, so how can Ethiopia align its national carbon market strategy with a global market mechanism such as Article 6 of Paris Agreement and also for voluntary carbon market?
Yeah, thank you very much for the organizers. Good afternoon. I think these days your battery bar is a bit low, yeah? But if you get a carbon market or a carbon finance, we will do what we are planning to do, yeah? So as a finance person and as an environmental economist, I'm very delighted to be sit together with my colleagues from the Ministry of Planning and Development and EPA and from Addis Ababa University and AFD. In terms, if you see the presentation from Michael and Rahel, they, especially from Michael, you heard about the word trust, integrity, and benefit sharing. So that is a core for the strategy. So in terms of Article 6, you can find so many jargons. ITMOs, carbon collaborative agreement, our MRV systems, biennial transparency report. All these are about the trust, and then to make everything is counted once. If we count double, we cannot get the carbon access. So one thing is about trust and integrity. We should work on that. The other thing is we have to sequence our early activities very smartly. We can do some bilateral agreements. We can do bilateral collaboration with different organizations. You can find private sector people who may come and ask you to have a carbon market collaboration. In that case, we have to manage those kind of things very smartly. Otherwise, if sectors pilots, if not linked with the country NDC or in the country long-term low emission development strategy, we will not achieve what we are expected. And the third one is we have to ensure integrity among ourselves. If World Vision do something on some special scale, we have to be sure that that thing is managed by World Vision. No need to come a World Bank there, or no need to come to other institute to come and serve on that kind of thing. So integrity is another issue. If you see also the PS legal framework, it has different scale, as Rahel mentioned, issue of a national level, regional level, even at local level. So all levels have its own its own capacity to generate different ecosystem service. So every activity can be disaggregated into different ecological and institutional scale. So when we want to align our activities with Paris Agreement, we should have to understand also what are our scales. Are we going for international scale? Are we going for national scale, or are we going to ecological scale? So this kind of thing, the back and forth between the institutional scale should also be managed. So that's my reflection. Thank you very much.
Doctor, yeah, we are running against time. So I will give you only 1 minute in the rest of the guiding questions I have. So I will also want to give you a chance to reflect any policy barriers. To really that you see in terms of money, system, or skill that stops Ethiopia to access this carbon finance. That are a barrier, really.
Yeah, the first one is that as Michael said, and the World Vision also mentioned that still they are waiting until now to hear about the carbon market strategy, and that paves way for the carbon regulation. So that is a policy gap. And then we don't have a payment for ecosystem service regulating framework. Who is a buyer, who is a seller, what is its responsibility, and who is an intermediator, who is a verifier, still lack. So now we have a legal framework. So that is a legal framework gap. Still now the government is trying to fill that. The other one is system and skills. We don't have a mechanism always, MRV systems. You can have a MRV somewhere else in EPA or other things. So we should have an integrated MRV mechanism to measure our interventions and a data and knowledge repository. The third one is finance and market condition. So we should have to have a very broad financing mechanism. And I think I can see Dr. Dagu here, that Ministry of Finance is trying to do a green coding. So whatever the finance flow, it should be tagged with, if we do it for climate action, the Ministry of Finance is working on to have that kind of tagging. So this finance system and skills and also policy gap is a major thing for
Thank
Ethiopia.
you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Still, can I give Dr. Wondusen just 30 seconds to reflect on the same topic?
Yeah, I think bringing everyone on board is one thing, and also capacity building at every level is very important. Sometimes whenever we need verifier, we are going to bring someone from abroad. So having local capacity will reduce also the total cost in an amazing manner. As I told you, there are a lot of institutions who are working in Ethiopia. So why don't we work together? Each one of us has our own amazing skill. Some NGOs, they are going to create enabling environment. Some of them, they can give us a pre-finance money, and the university also can also reduce the cost of even the clean cooking. So if we bring everyone on board, we can do that. Thank you.
So, Dr. Abedja, what opportunities exist really as going forward in Ethiopia really to access this carbon finance?
Okay, thank you. To speed up with time, I think I will say present very briefly. The first opportunity we have is, Ethiopia has more than half of its land mass is degraded and needs tree-based land restoration. So such type of activities, one means to enter to the carbon finance. So both in the reducing deforestation and restoration and afforestation and reforestation scheme is one issue. The other one is, as it was presented by Rahel, the PA system is one option. Ethiopia has a lot of water resources that need to be protected for different purposes. And the other is, biodiversity rich resource. We have biodiversity rich resources. So the PAS mechanism is one of them. And the other is, as stated in one of the panelists from Addis Ababa University, the clean energy. It's still untapped potential we have in Ethiopia to enter to that one. And the other one is in the agroforestry, in the sustainable land management, and the livestock sector in total. The climate smart agricultural smart activity is another option, which is still in all Ethiopia is having a lot of climate assets, which is not yet tapped. So
maybe the last one, 30 minutes. Just the last one, maybe 30 seconds for Dr. David. So what, given these challenges and also opportunities into account, what would be the role of international development partners in this regard to mitigate these challenges and also continue this step?
Yeah, I think, Hilo, you are my colleague and we are in the same staff. One thing is the World Bank or any multilateral international development agencies should continue the support of readiness programs. Yeah, that will give for capacity building, bankable project proposal development, and exploring climate finances in different arenas. So that is the other thing is there are transactions have its own risk. So this transaction risk can be supported by the international community, because when we enter to the carbon market, maybe we will get a less price of our carbon. So to de-risk our transactions, it's better to interact with also the World Bank can support this kind of thing. Regional collaboration, supporting of regional collaboration, and also engagement of the private sector, not only from the buyer side, even the private sector to be a seller of this carbon. So engaging private sector, support the readiness programs of the countries, and also support in minimizing the de-risk or risk factors in our carbon transaction.
Thank you, Dr. David. Thanks. I think almost we are on time. Yeah, maybe may I give chances maybe for one person, one question? We don't have time, so the first one.
Okay, thanks World Vision for organizing this type of side event. I have a question for Mr. Gosai and Mikhail. My first question is to Ato Gosai or Mr. Gosai. I think World Vision even taps more than $1 million from carbon market. And in your presentation or challenge, you don't mention about the policy gaps, policy and legal framework gap. I think is your World Vision experienced policy and legal framework gaps in their carbon market? If there, how you solve it or World Vision solve it, these gaps in other countries learn from it. My next question is for Mikhail. Sorry, in your presentation, next action, our next step is to develop the implementation guideline for national carbon market strategy. Is this implementation guideline work for regulation or for the, we all know that Environmental Protection Authority's main objective is compliance. So is this guideline maybe help for compliance and regulations? I think the other one is you also mentioned about NDC 2. The NDC 3 is now on the process of development. In NDC 3, is there any
time is already up?
Yeah, okay.
So
is there anything which is mentioned about forest restoration?
Reflect on this.
Thank you very much. Forest restoration in NDC 3. If you have any.
Still, also there is also a chance to discuss bilaterally outside. So you can reflect. Okay, very good. We have additional time.
Okay, thank you very much, the presenter and the panelist, and also the organizer, World Vision. Thank you. One of the questions, I think clarification is, the owner of the forest is those who develop it and got user right. Sometimes not individuals. There are institutions. For example, in our case, religious institution, significant area which is covered by this forestry. But one question is that whether the legal framework covers this institution, by the way, to what extent? My second question is to the World Bank. It is a very good invitation to the World Vision. One of the program is in World Bank is in progress, which is incorporate the carbon element. To what extent this international institution integrate to the implementation? Is there any room? Okay, is there any room to work with such institution? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So let's go first for this question. If you have time, we will come back. So first to Mikhail.
I think the first question is regard to the guideline. When we talk about guideline for implementation of the CRG, we say that, you know, I mean that for the strategy, we say that one strategy will need that, you know, its own implementing guidelines, you know. That implementing guidelines will deal direct with that of, you know, what makes its strategy looks like and how to detail to implement that on the ground base, okay. When we come to the carbon law, a carbon law is, you know, bringing the principles from that of the strategy. We will see together after finalizing that the draft carbon law, which is detailed, it has own proclamation, which is guided by that of, you know, each in detail will be, we will see at that time. But this one is, you know, directly associated with that of the strategy. Regarding to NDC3, I think so. You asked that, you know, this NDC3 will incorporate that of the afforestation and forestry sector. Is that not? My God, yeah, it's quite different. You know. If you are, you know, on board on early morning, which is launched that NDC3, every sector, especially the CRG sector, will be incorporated these NDC3s. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the ongoing project, yeah, you know, this one of our big project on the Committee Actions through Landscape Management Program, which is, it's now, the CALM program is going on. And yeah, the upcoming program also will include carbon, both the readiness part and also for the implementation part. It has that component. And the good thing also, recently, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Michael will assist me, a month or 2 months before, the government of Ethiopia is signed an agreement with the World Bank, a hosting country agreement for voluntary carbon market. So that is also supported by the World Bank. So once we are a hosting country, we will have so many opportunities that will come to us. So in this regard now, we have a strategy. So now the regulation will come soon. So with this progress, many of our programs will consider and link their intervention with the carbon market. And we have also some discussion with AFD, as a discussion with Ethiopian Airlines about some carbon offsets to be explored from this local market. And also, I think Hailo can better explain from the Oromia Forest Landscape Program, which is now almost the verification and also accreditation process is on the final stage. So once we have done that, maybe the first emission reduction payment will come. So once we have achieved this kind of thing, we are trying to scale up such kind of initiative to a large scale with different, by engaging communities. And one of the issue you ask about these users and ownership right? Yes, I know from the PS strategy, there is one article clearly mentioned about the benefit sharing. So whenever any PS contract is initiated, it has to be clearly indicated the benefit sharing agreement. How if the buyers of the ecosystem service is paying, each and every party engaged in that process should get the right benefit from the local up to the national level. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I think we need to wrap up because of timing. I think so. Maybe on the last one, on the last question, just to complement on what Dr. David has already said, I think World Bank is active partner in Ethiopia in driving, climate change issues. So World Vision, in the earlier pioneering project, afforestation for deforestation, World Bank was also supporting technically, also financially, and it's World Bank also leading, supporting the Oromia Forest Landscape directional program. And now still we are working as a World Bank to include also livestock emissions. We are working on that, and we are also moving toward this climate smart agriculture part to include soil carbon as part of the CALM program too. So there are in cook stove, in transport, in every sector, I think World Bank is working with the government in this aspect very intensively. So I think we need to wrap up here, and a number of issues have been raised, and this, I know this is a very burning critical topic to be discussed. We will not really finalize everything here. I think we will continue the discussion beyond today's session. So if you are interested also, you can engage this panelists outside the room. So finally, thank you for panelists for your contribution, and also the participants for your engagement. So big applause by clapping your hands to everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ato Hailo, for leading the session. Dr. Abaja, Tagabel Tolo.